Hey, okay, so again, multiple. Like I mentioned last time, that's I think last time or the time before, living expenses in America are pretty bad. So today, I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. That's a thing that I found out here. Before my where I was living before I moved to Japan, I was living in LA for quite a while. I had gone to the University of California, Irvine, and then after I graduated, I got a job in Los Angeles, and I like Los Angeles County. Really, I was living in Torrance and worked in Gardena for like 4 years, something like that. Um, yeah, I lived with roommates initially, and then lived on my own for a few years in my own apartment, and um, it's an experience, but it's like so expensive. I lived on my own twice and had roommates twice while I was in LA, and um, it's kind of impossible to have like a decent living without having roommates there. When I lived on my own, I tried to find one of the cheapest places available, and like it was okay. Like, I mean, you have most of your basic needs met, but at the same time, it's like it was still really difficult. Like my first apartment, it was $1,000 a month, and utilities were included, except for of course internet, because at the time, internet wasn't considered a basic utility, and it still kind of is not right now, which is why net neutrality is a thing. But um, it was $1,000 a month. It's like relative to how much I pay now, it was really expensive. I'll get to that in a moment. I'm going to compare both of the U.S. locations first. Um, and then internet's about $60 a month there. And then when I moved on my own the second time, I found a smaller studio apartment, but um, it was in Koreatown, and at the time, like when I got it, it was this cheapest place in all of downtown. I think it still is, but when I moved in, I was really lucky, and like um, it was like just starting to be renovated, so the price was about $700 a month with electricity included. No, wait, electricity and water, and like water included, water garbage included. Internet was still separate. Yeah, and that was that was interesting and difficult. It was a smaller place than my first place, but because relatively speaking, it was downtown. But it was a 1920s building. It was super old, and it had a bug problem. It also had a problem with like the electrical circuitry because it was so old. And in the summer, it was so hot, and I had an air conditioner, but I couldn't use it because everyone else in the building was using their air conditioner. So when I tried to even so much as heat up something in the microwave for lunch, it would knock out the power for the whole floor, and then it was constant, like where somebody would turn on a thing and it would knock out the power, and then you have to go outside your apartment and flip the switch, and then come back and then try not to use as much power, and it's like a constant thing that was like daily over the summer, and it was like hell. Like it was like hell compared to what I have now, and like it's a huge difference. It's like living like that in the U.S. is kind of like normal, I think, for a lot of people. You have to put up with a lot of things when you're trying to make ends meet, and you don't really have you're not getting paid enough to get a better place to live, or you have like crazy commute times or something, and it's just kind of insane, my quality of life from then compared to now. And now it's like I work for a company. I live in a company apartment right now. Like I'm recording in it right now, and the walls, relatively speaking, in this place is pretty thick because my one of my coworkers actually lives next door on the other side of this wall in front of me. Um, and most of the time she doesn't really hear anything. She doesn't hear that my TV is on, and like I leave my TV on normally, constantly, so because I live by myself and I don't like the sound. I don't like not hearing anything, and I'm not used to silence because I'm used to living with other people. So whenever, but I like living by myself, but I don't like the feeling of being alone. It's really unnerving. um, but still, she doesn't really hear a lot coming from my side, and like, yeah, it's like sometimes she has guests over and I hear them talking sometimes, but not really all the time, and it's pretty quiet. Like, it's hard to hear people talking. Like, you have to be really, really loud and having like a party in order to really disturb anyone. The walls are actually pretty contained. This one's also, it's the company that runs this place is a Leo Palace 21. They're okay company. I don't have I don't have experience with actually getting an apartment with them because my company went and did that for me before I arrived. But it's pretty decent accommodations, and this is one of the bigger ones. It's a loft style, so there's like a downstairs. There's a hallway with a kitchen, the bathroom, the toilet, and everything, and then down. I'm actually sitting on the loft right now to do this recording, and down there's just like a one-room apartment kind of deal where there's a closet area and then just a one-room space. And I was lucky where this place, like, we opened the door, myself and my boss, and like, oh, they left a bed for you. Like, it's a Nitori bed, so I lucked out. My coworkers didn't get a bed with their apartment, and like, some of them sleep on the loft, some of them sleep on the floor with their futon, and yeah, but this particular complex, though, is a really lucky thing for myself and my coworker, because our other coworkers don't have a loft this big. Their loft is super small, just enough for like one person to sleep on. And I have storage space where this is basically like another room. And space-wise, it's great. I need to change the bulb on the halogen light that's up there, which is why the lighting up here is not so good. I'm recording this during the daytime so that I have some natural light to light the mise-en-scène of this video. And yeah, price-wise though, the company puts a little bit more on top because it's their apartment and they're subletting it to me, but I pay about the equivalent of $400 a month. It's about half of what I used to pay. like, like little more than half that for what the Koreatown apartment. Although, like, I checked it later. Like, I was really lucky for that place where I had rent control because the base rent for that place went up to like 1,000 after I left. So if I went back there to try to reapply for a new apartment, I would pay $1,000 again. So for less stuff than I paid for my previous $1,000 apartment. Yeah. But 400, possibly a little less though, if I had got the apartment on my own. And let's see, you have to pay the utilities, so you pay electric, water, and gas, and internet. But okay, internet is $20 for like it's basically maybe like the same as a DSL, but $20, unlimited bandwidth. Sometimes not always completely stable, but you always have internet access, and they give you plenty of notice in advance when they are doing system maintenance or it might go down. It's like the most stable internet I've ever had in my life because internet in America is awful. And then electricity. I currently have my air conditioner on because it is super hot in Japan. Outside is pretty warm, And my apartment is comfortable because I don't turn off the air conditioner or the heater. Like, depending on what the season is, I never turn it off anymore. I used to when I first moved here because I was trying to be cheap. And then I realized I really don't have to be that cheap because electricity is very cheap here. I was so surprised. If I used my heater or air conditioner as much as I did this in America, my bill would be like $300 to $500. Instead, my bill has never gone over the equivalent of $100. Like, even this month, I've kind of set it to a reasonable temperature just so I'm just comfortable and it's not, the air conditioner's not running like in overdrive. But like this last month's electricity bill was only $40. And like, sweet, the highest it's ever been is about like $90 worth. That's when like it's like the days when it's like super cold or it's like super hot. Yeah. And we make gas is like, I think the gas bill was like $19. Yeah, because there's a lot of things that use gas. It's a lot lower if you don't use a lot of gas. And also like I have like a stove that's not a gas stove, so relatively speaking, it really just depends on how much you use and like what the setup is of your apartment. So if you have a gas stove, even though it cooks your food more evenly and everything, it costs more, obviously, because you're using more gas. And so hot water is on demand, so like you have to turn the gas on and off and everything. So there's that. Water is every 2 months, and it's about $20 a month. But you get the bill like every 2 months, and it's just altogether all the bills I have to pay here are like, it's so much that I actually get to save. It's like I get, my salary is about the same as what I had in the US, but I save so much more. You can't understand what it feels like to have living expenses not be a stress factor for you. If you're living even like with a mediocre income, but you live in a place like LA where everything is expensive, it's a huge difference. And I can't appreciate that enough, right? So I really recommend like moving to Japan and working here for a while because it puts a lot of perspective on things. I think you appreciate it more though after you've already tried to work in your home country. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.